Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 9th episode of the GP Nag Industries podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Langston. Joining me, as always, Eric with Nag Industries. Eric, hello.
So, are we doing anything special for episode number 10?
I mean, we can.
Okay.
We just got to figure something out, I guess. Well, we got to figure out when episode 10 is going to be as well. We'll come up with something. We'll chat afterwards. Hopefully, having finished his technical difficulties over here, also joining us tonight is Eric Galloway, as usual.
Hey.
And tonight's guest. I met this man 2 years ago when he used to work for Vortex at a Nag Industries event, actually, for the optics and everything. Went out there with the pistol optics. But now he has his own company, working a Sierra Whiskey Company. Joining us tonight, John.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, John, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm not going to try and butcher your last name because, you know.
I've got like 20 nicknames based off of it. So Scooby-Doo, School Bus, Scooby-Wan. There's a lot of them. So Skubis. But we stick to first names.
So tell us a little bit about exactly what Sierra Whiskey Company is all about. Before we get into the best, I think personally for me, my best banner I've come up with yet. But let's, what is Sierra Whiskey Company all about?
Yeah, so it all started about a year and a half ago. I just realized that there wasn't a lot of clothing companies that are really serving the 2A community. So, I mean, there's a lot of clothing companies out there that are making good stuff. So our first offering, I decided to come out with the Under-tac Infantry underwear. Effectively, it was designed for special forces operators. So, I know a lot of guys working at Vortex, any acronym under the sun you can think of, all the ones that exist and don't exist.
Precisely.
And so yeah, I was like, well, we got to come up with something for those guys that they can actually, it supports what they do and also supports their junk. So,
and Junior, because
look at that.
Because, Junior has a thing for wieners because he's a Cab Scout. Actually, outside of your guys' website, which is right here. So if you guys want to check out what we're talking about while we're talking about it, those of you not watching and listening later, you can find the Under-tac Infantry boxer briefs at www.sierrawhiskeyco.com. So Junior sells them. You sell them on your website as well. But this is great because Junior can give us a live demo on the mannequin on some of the actual features because it's actually like that right there. Okay.
That's why.
It is. It's honestly brilliant. I'm not going to lie because the biggest thing that I think male underwear manufacturers just have stuck with what we've been wearing since the 1800s. And anyone who carries appendix or deep concealment because you're, I don't know, working for an OGA that doesn't exist in a hostile country, so you have to deep conceal, but it's kind of hard to not undress to go to the bathroom. So
absolutely. Yeah, I like to refer to it as, before the Under-tac, I always found myself fishing for my worm up to my elbow. So this makes it a lot easier. Anyone who's had to, work around their gun or has been in full kit will definitely appreciate those the first time they wear them.
Yeah, because, I mean, I know personally, I'm being an infantryman, dude, most of us just went. Because this is in the day of the BDU when we still had button ups too. I don't know what weird crap they're wearing these days. They're probably zipper Yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, point being, you just go commander because it was just easier. Number one, because it's not like you can just stop if you're on a patrol or if you're moving to contact or anything.
Mhm.
And you decide you got to piss. You can't just be like, "Time out, guys, gotta go." You learn how to go to the bathroom on the move.
Well,
Yeah.
and Brandon, like I remember Sergeant drilling it into my head. Ounces equals pounds, pounds equals a broken back. So what would you
Yep.
rather have, another pair of skibbies or another pair of socks that's going to prevent blisters?
Yep. You just go without.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that was the norm.
something like this would have been ingenious because, well, you're not up to your elbow going for your worm. So, I mean, it makes sense.
And not even on just only that, though. So that whole ounces equals pounds things, dude, these things are light. They're breathable. Not being gross, but I tested it. I ran them. But you remember when you're in and you go running a pair of skibbies for a day, you're throwing them away. It's just because of how much physical work we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
I've been selling these to fire departments, wildland fire teams. They're falling in love with them because they only have to pack 2 or 3 pairs and be in the field for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's one of the benefits of the material we use is micromodal. So it's a sustainable material made from like beech tree cellulose, but one of the natural properties of that, it's 50% more moisture wicking than cotton, and it's anti-pilling and also naturally antibacterial. So when we were basically testing out the prototypes, I did a 7-day streak in a pair, shoveling snow and you know what? It didn't really have any smell. I was amazed because wearing cotton boxer briefs.
Oh, yeah.
You get funky fast.
Real fast. And especially when you're doing heavy work, especially where me and Eric live in the South, dude. You can't right now. Especially
Sweat the undercarriage.
Yeah, you can't walk outside without having to swim to your car, whether it's raining or not, just because of the humidity. So,
yeah,
cotton underwear, real quick. You're like, oh man.
Those guys in Louisiana would argue with us. They're like, "You don't know what humidity is."
Good for them. That's why I don't live in Louisiana, and
be
Fort
right.
Polk can suck it. Well, it's true, but that's because it's nothing. The entire state's a swamp. I mean, literally the only dry parts are the highways, and
that's
can't even say JRTC because it's like only a third of it might be dry, maybe.
It's crazy. I was in New Orleans about a year and change ago, and I was at the Tactical Conference 2018 and just doing a presentation on optics. And I got to New Orleans, got my rental car, started driving around, and I was like, wow, someone decided to build here. This is crazy.
Don't, as Daniel Tosh would say, do not invest in property below sea level.
Well, when you go to New Orleans too, though, it's also like a training chance. You just go out after dark and see what happens.
Oh my God, I have a wonderful story.
Skill test. See.
It's a total skill test. If we have time for a story, I can tell
go
you
for it.
gem.
This is we literally do nothing but screw off on these things.
Yeah,
all right.
It's all for fun. It's nothing major. Like, stories make the time go by best.
Yeah. So previous life, doing the military law enforcement sales management for the country for Vortex Optics. I was doing some speaking opportunities, went down to TACCon. I was in like 60 cities that year. And so I was like, all right, well, I got all these. I just joined a club like the Alamo Insiders Club, and I got all these points saved up. So they give me a free upgrade on a rental.
Go ahead. Keep talking.
All right. So I upgrade this rental, and I show up in New Orleans, and they give me my car, and it's this like brand new Cadillac. It just looks great. I usually bring a gun with me to the cities that I'm allowed to carry in. And usually in the parking garage, before I, pull out of the parking garage, I'll load up, carry appendix, whatnot. Well, this parking garage was super busy. So I just threw my gun case on the passenger seat. So I pull out of there and I'm like, okay, I'll just pull it off in the first parking lot that looks relatively empty and load up. So go to pull off in the parking lot. It is just like you got to pay to get in this parking lot. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. I'll just keep going. So I don't know what Google Maps was thinking, but they start taking me through just like gravel alleyways. Like it's a bad neighborhood. I mean, when you see a grown man sitting in a lawn chair in a parking lot of a store at like 2 p.m. drinking a tall boy, you know it's a pretty rough neighborhood. So I started like loading up right at the stoplight. I'm like, all right, I'm just got to get this thing on. And like everyone is just eyeing up that car. So like I get to my hotel and it is between this really bad neighborhood on the east side and a Walmart. And I was like, oh man, I couldn't have picked a better one. So I go in and I'm talking to the lady who works the front desk. So I'm like, hey, is this a what should I do and not do? She goes, well, what are you here for? I'm like, well, I'm here to present at a tactical conference. And she goes, oh, well, you're fine. You look like you can handle yourself then. I was like, whoa. I don't want to have to handle myself. That's why I'm asking you. And she goes, oh, okay, well, yeah, just don't go out after dark, and whatever you do, don't come through that neighborhood. I'm like, well, I just came through that neighborhood, so okay, well, what else do I got to watch out for? I'm like, is there a lot of carjackings in this area? And she goes, oh, well, what are you driving? And I just point out the window, and she goes, oh, yeah, there's a lot of carjackings. I was like, oh, my God. I totally regretted upgrading the car on that trip.
Uh-oh.
So, also joining us now, our newest employee at Galloway Precision, Chris.
How's it going, guys? Sandman over here.
So he's there with.
So, Junior, you're no longer the youngest one here.
I just wish I could pull off a mustache like that. I'm going to be truthful.
You can. You can order one on Amazon.
Told him,
you can order one on Amazon.
Yeah.
John's got a point.
I just want hair. That's all I want. Yeah.
I just shave all.
Did your car make it out or what? I'm curious now.
Yeah, well, oh God, this story just gets so deep. I mean, like, so I looked up the venue, and it turns out like the place that I was speaking at actually had an office right next to the hotel that I booked. So it turns out for the next 3 days in a row, I would have to drive through that terrible neighborhood when it was dark in the morning and in the evening, and then drive 40 minutes through like rush hour traffic. So like I asked the lady at the front desk, I'm like, hey, can I stay tonight, cancel the rest of my reservation? And oh, by the way, I just booked this hotel closer to my venue. You know, how is it? And she goes, oh, where's it at? So I tell her, and she goes, oh yeah, that's much worse for carjackings. I was like, oh my God, it just gets worse. So I like do my presentation the first day because it's a 3-day event, 2-hour lectures each day. I get to my next hotel the second night, and I check in, and there is blood on the floor of my hotel room. The pleather chair has had all of the pleather like peeled off of it, like there was a crazy meth head staying there, just like.
Oh, that was that goes without saying.
Yeah.
So, see, Brandon, I'm not the only one who picks terrible hotels.
Good Lord, ain't that the truth?
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, because I feel so much better. I get accused of these.
On that note, every time I get to meet you guys at SHOT, though, I get to see some very interesting parts of Vegas. I will say that.
You're not being. It's not untrue. I didn't say it was untrue. I just said it's not as unusual as Brandon said it. Because
there's was it last year or the year before when we were over there by the Stratosphere? It was just you, me, Jason, and Chris, and we had to turn around at the crackhead hotel across the street.
Oh yeah,
and then
that was shot to 2018.
Yeah, we come around and obvious lady of the night is standing outside looking
everything but knocking bills off.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking rough. Like, it was bad. And what was funny is it made me think back to 2016 when me and my wife stayed a couple extra days, and she got the idea, and I knew better. And this is the first time I had at least brought my knives with me, because I just was like, if we're staying extra, I got to have something. I've got to have something on me, because my wife is the type of person who loves to go wandering and exploring and things like that.
She wants to help everybody. So she's like,
oh yeah,
look at that man puking in the parking lot. Slow down, Eric. I'm like,
and then we're
not slowing down.
So she decides we need to walk to Fremont from the Stratosphere. And let me tell you,
oh man,
don't do that. Don't do that. And she's like, why are you walking so fast? I'm like, just keep up, because we get a couple of homeless guys that start following in line behind us, trying to be not obvious. And she's like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, and then one of them starts walking up, and that's about the time, I brought my Paragon with me, my devil's tongue from Asheville Steel. And so, it's pretty, you can hear it. And so I just pull it out and open it, and the guy stops. I turn around and I'm like, what do you two want? Oh, we were just wanting some change. I'm like, no, fuck off. We're going on down the road. And dude, but here's the thing. That wasn't even the worst part. Coming towards us as we get closer to Fremont are like young women, young men by themselves. And I'm just sizing them up. And I'm like, one of these people is getting robbed. I mean, I just know because they're going that way. I'm like, one of them's going to get robbed.
Tub full of ice, missing a kidney in the morning.
Well,
welcome to Brazil.
Funny you should bring that up, Junior. Charles, who we work with, his brother Tom had that experience in Vegas. Him and his buddy got a kidney. No. Oh. His brother Tom's fine.
Calm down.
Tom's fine. But him and his friend were out drinking. These women approached them, started, talking them up, wanting to buy drinks for them. And, they were getting way drunker than he thought they should have. So he thought he was getting sick. He said, look, I'm going back to the room, took off. Never saw that man again in his life.
Whoa.
I guarantee you he was harvested, because it's not like, oh, hot chicks that are way out of my league want me to go back to their room. No, that's not a real thing. And it turns out that Tom ended up going to, I have to double check with Charles, but Tom was pretty sure they were drugged, because he slept for like
24 hours,
24 full hours. Yeah.
Jesus.
And so,
he was absolutely drugged.
Oh yeah,
totally.
And that's
drugged.
in Las Vegas. Okay, it's everywhere, and people are just like, doop, 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 doop. I'm walking by myself.
So
crazy.
It's funny that you bring that part up. So, Brandy, you know how we land in Maryland and we fly out and you head to Germany for deployment?
Yeah.
So, it's my buddy's second deployment. He's like, hey, here's a couple of Ambien and some of those NyQuil Z's. They'll be fine. Take them. Dude, it felt like an hour and I woke up in Germany.
Oh, yeah. That is a long flight.
Wow, guys, that was the quickest flight I've ever been on.
No, it is not.
That was awesome. 7 hours? No.
I feel great. I bet you do.
Did you wake up with any underwear that didn't belong to you is the question, Eric.
No.
Speaking of the underwear.
I'm just asking.
Bring them back up. We weren't done talking about the underwear.
You got to play with the underwear some more.
No, there's the reason, because show them what's on the back. All right, so
I think this is the trickiest part of this, honestly.
Thanks. Yeah.
Now tell us about what that is.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's cool, but that's cool.
That is the condom pocket.
There you go.
If you can find the condoms that are like in little ovals, they fit perfectly. Or you can fit a Magnum in there, but it just sticks up a little bit. But no, so
you got to get a long version, man.
That's right.
Get the Magnum version. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to extend that waistband by double, so put the Magnums in there. it'll definitely be more comfortable. So that's the escape and evasion pocket. So I've done some escape and restraint stuff, escape and evasion, escaping restraints, and I just think that there's no one really serving for that
money
market
in it, like a hooker.
So basically, design that. That's his favorite part.
It is. That's where he puts his phone number for everybody.
Yeah, he makes them reach in there and get it themselves.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell them where the pocket actually is.
He's just like, reach around, you'll find it. Dig around in there.
While you're back there, that's what he said.
I won't interrupt you again. I just saw him doing that and knew exactly what he was doing. But yeah, the escape and evade pocket is brilliant because, you never know. Honestly, we just got done telling a couple of different stories.
Yeah.
You may wake up drugged in some dude's room getting ready to harvest your organs and you're handcuffed, but you got your Under-tac undies on.
Yeah. So great for travel. You know what? I think we're going to sell a lot more of these now because we've highlighted a real problem. It's going to Vegas. So everyone who goes to Vegas,
right. What you do, I've got it for SHOT Show, even though we know it's going to end up canceled. They canceled SEMA, they're going to cancel show. You know they are.
Yeah.
But what you should do is just set up a booth outside and just have this episode on a loop and talking about, hey, while you're here, you may need this.
I think you just landed on our marketing team. So.
See, there you go.
Congrats.
Bam.
Vegas approved travel wear.
Marketing, where I belong.
I just did a couple YouTube videos. You can check out our YouTube. It's just Sierra Whiskey Co. channel. But I did a video on how to pack up that escape and evasion pouch. And also I did one that I just released this morning. It shows like 6 different ways to escape duct tape. Because everyone shows the easy way where you just go like that. And they're like, oh, you're out. But that works like 9% of the time.
Yeah. It's always
funny.
It's always funny they show them doing it, and it's usually some jacked dude or chick. And then, like, when you notice when they have real people do it, like I've seen some of these, and they're trying to do it, and nothing's happening. I'm like, yeah, that's what would really happen.
Yeah, it pretty much so. Like, in the video I demonstrate, I had my girlfriend like tape like 5 times around this way, 5 times around the other way, like behind my back. It's like you're not getting anywhere. And I show how you can retrieve items for that escape and evasion pouch. So you can pack it up. I take a ceramic razor blade or a razor blade, put a little duct tape on it, wrap. You can wrap like $300 to $500 bills around there, depending on how much you want to carry. And then you can do a handcuff key and Kevlar kite string. So it was a little bit challenging. You can see in the video that after I was rolling around and did like 10 different escapes, then I was like, okay, now I'm going to pull my waistband in a clockwise motion until I can reach back and both my hands are bound. But when you get really sweaty, they don't want to turn as well as when you just put them on. So it took me like 15
That's what she
minutes.
Said. So I can't help it. I'm sorry.
You gotta let the jokes land where they land. Take that opportunity. So you can access that pocket from the back of the front. There are different methods, but carrying those escape and evasion tools, I think, is highly important. If you're traveling, if you are special forces or even law enforcement, I've heard of situations where law enforcement officers getting abducted. So we're starting hiding different implements on them.
Especially
like
in the current environment. I mean, let's be honest. We're not going to go full political at all because we just don't do that. But in the current environment, I'm sure it's happening.
I think private security it would be advantageous for them to look at that because private security, who knows what they're going to get into if they get fully disarmed to go into a certain atmosphere, and then things can escalate. Rapidly.
Hey, we're actually here to grab your boss.
Yeah,
we're gonna kill you later.
Yeah.
So I mean, stuff like that, you hear about it happening a lot overseas, obviously, but who's to say that's not going to become a norm here? Right.
And in human trafficking, that's another thing I just wanted to throw in there, is insane to just like, well, it's insane to begin with, and it's awful, and it shouldn't even be a thing, but it is getting so off the charts. And so what we do is we take a portion of our profits and we donate that to groups that help fight human trafficking, and so specifically veteran run groups that will, help fight human trafficking, because I think it's just something that there needs to be a lot more done about it, and having this product that can also help in a first principle manner. You don't need to be rescued. Is kind of a big deal. It's kind of something that's near and dear to our hearts, and something we'd like to throw our hat in the ring and just try and make a positive change out there.
Have you guys interacted with a Hero Corps any?
I haven't.
Why do you always say corpse?
because the big guy with the tattoos that threatened my life because I kept saying it wrong. You can't reach me here. Anyway, no, they're an awesome group, but they take the SFS or SS, the special force guys that get pulled out, and they put them into this sort of line of work of doing a kid rescue. They start on the internet level, and then they work their way down to the I don't know what pimp or whatever. Yeah, they see some
terrible shit,
but they do astounding work that you never hear about, and they're a great group to be tied in with.
Yeah, I'm gonna check them out. If you can make an introduction, if you know them. Otherwise, I'll get a hold of them. It'd be awesome.
I've got a card somewhere.
Yeah,
I think I've got his card.
Actually, we did we used to do like a benefit once a month with a local cigar company that actually sponsored them, and all the benefits, all the profit from the event went to them. So it was a really good. I hated to see it go away, but it just kind of got to where the venue wasn't available, basically.
Yeah, the venue wanted their
100%.
Their 100%. Yeah,
everything.
They really did, and I think, and it was between Hero Corps and the cigar company that was putting it on. It's small. It's it's not a huge thing. Yeah, I think the venue saw that. Oh well, they're part of a government entity. Yeah, but they are only associated with Homeland Security. They share intelligence. That's it. And it was unfortunate, man, because it was a really cool play, and a lot of us veterans that are local went. It was a huge deal. It was a big deal, but that last one was kind of killed. But yeah, HeroCorps.net. May go.
Just say corpse, and they'll come find you.
I meant to create a banner instead, but it's in the comments as well.
Awesome.
They're a good group, though. You should check them out for sure. It'll be right up your alley.
Thanks. I appreciate the tips. Yeah, I'm always looking to kind of expand, and it's an awesome thing. The more I sell, the more I can donate, and I want to take these sort of levels of design that I've incorporated in these underwear and continue that with other products as we grow. So excited. I think by this time next year, maybe even sooner, we should have the women's version out. So that will be a big thing, because a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, it's not going to happen to me, or I'm fine or whatever. But not to be too dark, but you ever train with Tom Givens? He's an amazing instructor, but an old cop from Memphis, and he just talks about
stuff.
Oh, Memphis,
yeah,
threw balls to that.
Yeah. His students alone, like he has a record of like them getting in gunfights. So like his students, I believe the last time I checked, it was like 64-0 and 3, and the 3 were forfeits because they didn't carry their guns, so they got smoked that day. But all wins, no losses otherwise. So yeah, I mean, he talks about it. He's like, yeah, he's like, if you're a guy, you still have a chance of like getting raped out there.
Oh yeah.
And anytime, he's like, and if you're a guy and you get raped, he's like, it's not just a person, it's like 5 people, and you're probably not going to live. So it's like, you got to be prepared for just about anything these days.
Yeah, if they're good, because like he said, though, it's not going to be probably one that gets to drop on you. It's going to be him and his 6 or 7 buddies.
Yep.
And then you're going to have a real bad day. And that's and that's just it. And it's one of those things that kind of comes back around to what we end up always talking about at some point is it's not a force field. your height, your size, the gun you carry, any of that. It doesn't make you invincible. Right. A lot of people think, well, I'm huge. I bench 500 pounds. Well, that doesn't matter when someone comes up and hits you in the back of the head with a damn blackjack and you wake up.
Or they come and Tanya Harding your ass, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's...
Big goal.
I mean, I don't know, Jimmy. You do have a sweet ass.
Yes, he does.
That's one of Eric's childhood friends. But, you know, and I think, too, the great thing about, I think people will see this, and I'm going to end up buying a pair. I know that. But I'm more interested in when you get the female ones ready because I have a lot of daughters.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
He's got a volleyball team waiting to happen.
If I can outfit them with something and teach them, hey, you know, if someone snatches you and you've got your proper underwear on, here's how you get away. Here's how you get out. You know, and because, and not just to mention the fact that they're female, it's their kids. You know, it all goes full circle again to the human trafficking thing, which is so out of control, and people are still just blowing off. Like all this crap about masks and everything else, but you don't see a damn thing in the mainstream idiotic media about children being abducted. We have more children disappearing in our own country every year than a majority of the developed world. That ought to wake some people up.
It's insane.
But instead, they're just like, doesn't affect me until it does.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's one of the things. It's just like, you know, people, we live in this very conditioned bubble, and things have been so good for so long for a lot of people. And they don't understand that, like, how many times they've almost been killed, raped, murdered, abducted, you know, all those things. And they've just gotten really lucky. I mean, just crime statistics, if you look at like what's reported on the news, you know, what's probably like the last 5 or 10 years that the news has been saying, oh, crime's going down. You know, it's actually untrue because the sources that they're getting it from, that's a voluntary reporting source. So if a city's crime goes up, they're like, well, we're not reporting that because it's going to ruin our tourism. So, you know, if you look at the FBI statistics, it's going up. So it's like, I think, you know, back to Tom Gibbons taking his class, he's done all the math, but it's like something crazy. It's like a 1 in 60 chance every day that you will have one of the 4 major crimes committed to you, like aggravated assault, rape, robbery, murder. And if you're in Memphis, it's probably like 1 in 2, but
yeah. The few times I have been to Memphis, it is let's get the hell out of here, don't take an exit, and just drive as fast as possible. Because, you know, I've been through Memphis a lot, and the one thing I noticed there you don't really see on the highway when you're getting past Memphis is a lot of state troopers. They're just like, yep, go ahead, get the hell out of here, go as fast as you can, just keep going, because Memphis is just out of control. But it's, you know, I said Asheville earlier, our town, but it's the exact same thing. We had bomb squad captain over a while ago. We've talked about this before, but basically, short of murdering someone, dude, they're just not. Their hands are tied because our genius governor's got all these restrictions, and so they can't really do anything. And it's people. It's just getting out of control.
Yeah, and that's one of the things was the reclassification of like getting rid of attempted murder, and attempted murder is not a thing anymore. It's called aggravated assault. So it's like, I tried to murder you, but you were too tough and the medicine's gotten too good.
Right.
So it's aggravated assault. You've got no quality of life left, but hey, you know, at least I'm not getting murder charges. You know, crazy.
Well, you know, why half-ass one thing when you whole-ass, you know,
don't half-ass.
Whatever that crap is, that's
as per Ron Swanson.
There you go, yeah.
Never half-ass 2 things, only whole-ass 1 thing.
There you go. Words to live by when it comes to aggravated assault.
But you know, and it's I don't think too. I think it's really overlooked in the whole 2A and EDC community on escape and evasion. Everybody concentrates so much on train. Well, yeah, but the reality of it is you can't be on all the time. You just can't. At some point you're going to let your guard down. And that's when things happen, and you can't be like, well, I'm going to walk around and yell at all the J-frame hip-slapping geniuses out there. Dude.
They're on it.
You can't be that way. You physically can't. I mean,
right.
Soldiers, you deal with top tier 1 guys. No amount of training. You're still it's going to happen. It's just because of statistical anomalies, everything. It's bound to happen at one point or another. That's why we train. So why leave out a huge component that could save your life?
Yeah, and you bring up a great point. I would say a lot of the people I meet, who I've done a lot of training. I've had the pleasure of training with, some legendary Navy SEALs, and I got to train 1st Recon Battalion in February. So kind of being on both sides of it, and just you see all this training, and a lot of the people who aren't getting that training are still people who conceal carry. Yep. And they don't necessarily understand. They still think that a gun is just a magical laser beam. You shoot someone, they're done. But here's the thing, like, you're going to have to probably earn your draw. Like, how are you going to draw your gun? And can you safely, operate that gun in that position? And do you have the skills to retain that gun? Because if not, you just gave someone the weapon to kill you. So that's why I started training in martial blade concepts with Mike Janich. So I'll be going to 2020 martial blade camp.
Yeah, you'll love it.
It's awesome. I was there a couple years ago, and it was amazing. But yeah, so doing empty hand stuff and doing knife work, and after learning all that I've learned in training, which I still have a long way to go, I'll just call myself a novice. I just love training. But if I'm probably within 3 feet of someone, I'm probably going to my knife instead of trying to draw.
Yeah, and that was something that we were talking about last week with Armando, or the last episode, I should say, because he specializes in all of that. BJJ, Gracie, North Carolina is him, and but he also does SIOC, Valley Tudo, all these different. And the great thing about Armando is he'll always tell you, you can't have just one trick. If you do, you're done. And a perfect example of that is that douchebag in Walmart last month that people walk up to him and throw a fit about a mask. He draws a gun. That's all he had. Couldn't talk him down. Couldn't just walk away. If it was going to end up getting physical, couldn't actually defend himself. His immediate go-to was, I'm being threatened. Pull a gun.
Yeah.
And you can't. That's not how that works. You need to be able to gauge situations, learn how to handle a situation without ever even going to the gun, because there's going to be times where pulling it's just dumb. Right. And all you're doing is, like you said, hey, here's the weapon to kill me with.
Yeah, they're just going to take it away. I mean, it's one of those deals. You pull a gun, like when you pull an unchambered gun. That's one of those conversations that I get. There's a lot of people that's fine, but you pull an unchambered gun. I mean, that's delay time, unless you're Superman, I guess, but. It's hard to get past that as a training standpoint.
He wouldn't need the gun because he is faster than a speeding bullet.
Right. Yeah. So for the rest of us, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely the same thing. Like you said, inside 3 to 5 feet, I'm probably going to go to a fixed blade I keep on my belt just for that. And I trained that way. People are like, what do you carry every day? What gun? Well, that's really one minor part of everyday carry. I've got a tourniquet. I don't leave the house without a tourniquet. I don't leave the bedroom in the morning without a tourniquet. I'm more likely to use that in a flashlight than I am a gun.
Right.
Right. So I think that's critical, and it comes down to a lot of mindset and realistic. The gun's not a force field. The gun is not a cure-all. It's just a tool, and a tool has a purpose, maybe multiple, but always a purpose. but there's tools you're going to use way more often that you should have on you. When I first met Brandon 6 years ago, I guess.
Yeah,
that was one of the things me and him were talking about when he actually worked for a gun store, and I told him to empty his pockets because he was talking to talk. I wanted to see if he could walk it, and he did. And I was like, I like you.
Like a tourniquet is basic, awesome. Man. We've covered it before, but it's like your Undertac underwear. It's a brilliant concept.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't do the not up to my elbow digging my worm out part, the escape and evade of it is the most brilliant thing ever, because it's one of those things you look at and you go, why does nobody else do this?
Yeah.
This is
saw that and I was like, that's brilliant.
Because
thank you.
Short of you being snatched maybe naked out of your shower, you're going to be clothed. And the majority of the time, people who are searching you are not searching your waistline. They're not going to sit there, and even if they strip you,
objects,
they're looking.
Right.
They're looking for weapons. They're not looking for, a Kubaton or something like. You're going to put that in your butt, aren't you?
that was a defensive weapon. I thought this was taking a turn. So.
That's where it's been. You keistered that, didn't you?
Coolest things in the world, but anybody that ever sees this for the first time, that's instantly what comes out of their mouth is they're an adult.
Well, you are carrying a lime green and yellow Kubaton around that is way more shaped like a butt plug than.
Why does it look discolored at the tip?
That's my point. Where have you been putting that thing?
All it proves, Eric, is that everyone you know and show it to are perfect.
Would you like me to demonstrate?
Just don't do it sideways.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Getting paid. Just people bringing you money now? Yeah. That's what you were doing in the other room.
That comes on at 10 o'clock Eastern.
That's the After Dark podcast.
That's right. Oh, I make sure it's 18 plus.
On a quick note, because there's 3 of you on here that know him. You remember Old Austino?
Yeah.
You met us first year back at SHOT Show, you and Eric at the bar.
Yeah.
John, you remember Austin?
Was he paying you to strip?
So you guys have all met him. He's officially an employee of NAG Industries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Hey.
Don't let him put the Kubaton in your butt.
It's not a training aid. That has to be voluntary. There's rules.
There's rules. There's rules, Eric. No means no.
We're a country of rules, remember?
But no, and like Timothy Fisher here said, training, if a knife is involved, you're going to get cut. How bad is up to how you train.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And that's the thing. That was one of the big things that Armando covered up, because the first thing out of my mouth was defying the snake, and he just rolled his eyes because it's not a real concept. Okay, people, if you're in a down and dirty street fight for your life with the bad guy, they're not coming from 20 feet away going, I'm coming to cut you, and walking like a wind-up robot. Dude, they're in close. Things are going to get nasty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Go ahead.
There's they've probably had more real world experience than you have, unless you have been a cop or
spent a lot
in the
in
military.
South America.
Spend a lot of time in South America.
Yeah,
like a lot.
So you definitely have to realize you are at an instant disadvantage. So just situational awareness is your best friend. Learning to stay out of those situations.
Bingo.
And even showing respect to that's one of the reasons for a lot of crimes. People think they've been disrespected. Assaults. So it's like, hey, even if this guy seems to be like an asshole and he's not doing something he should or whatever, maybe I just, swallow my ego for a hot minute. I show him the respect he wants, and we don't get in a knife fight, or maybe this doesn't happen, or maybe I am not then pre-selected for victimization. So
exactly.
that's training too. I think a lot of people, they spend too much time. Well, there's a lot of people who don't spend enough time at the range, but then there are people who spend too much time at the range thinking that 1 second draw is going to just do everything for them. It's not.
Or the little gay reload where they played too much Call of Duty and
their tactical reload in the middle of a firefight.
I love that. That's my
never
favorite.
Taking cover.
So, talking about being prepared, we get used body armor from U.S. Armor. We work with them a lot, and we use that used armor for our test fire tube. We should pack the bottom of it, so they just give us the old vest, and I have to strip everything. So, anybody know what this is?
Looks like a sappy plate.
That's a cross.
I was sorry to say that's a.
I see.
They call those dingles.
I want to show the progression of being prepared this gentleman was in his crotch pad. There is the soft backing to help, but you know what this dude was most prepared for? He had a card taped in there. I found
he had St. Michael taped into his. That is awesome.
And it's been in my shop ever since I found it. It wasn't going in the test fire tube. I've always
that is fantastic.
That's great.
Please, St. Michael, keep my junk safe.
Eric, what does that smell like?
He beat me to it. I was getting ready to ask him how many times. Does it still smell the same?
It smells like cheese.
Yeah, Eric, hey, if you have any body armor that you want to send my way, I'm doing an improvised body armor test next week. I'm going to take, for the YouTubes, I'm going to take books, some duct tape, and some ceramic tiles. So if you want anything tested alongside of it,
that would
feel
be
free to send
sweet. Speaking of that,
just remember, Eric, you have to wear it.
So the local flea market, Smiley's, okay, before COVID and all this other BS we're dealing with, it's this huge, basically giant swap meet is what it boils down to. And they've got some interior shops and stuff where there are these rednecks in there. I don't know if they're still in there at this point or not. I haven't been back. I haven't been to the place probably 4 or 5 years. I drive by it. We drive by it all the time. Hell, I'm sure Chris drives by it every single night.
Pretty sure they just live there.
Yeah. There is, yeah, because you see some of them and you're like,
There's a reason you're not allowed in the back room.
You got to make it rain.
They were making their.
Sorry, you just got to see it.
But they're making their own body armor, right? Stop hollow point, polyethylene, blah blah blah. And I'm just staring at him, man. And the reason I heard about this is because his friend Jody was telling us about it, and I'm like, "You're a liar!" And I had to go see for myself. He wasn't kidding. And they had this little video they did where they're shooting it with hollow points. And it's stopping them. And I'm like, that's great. What if they got ball ammo? And they both looked at me and went, what's that?
Oh, my God.
And I am like, ball
Standard
ammo. Practice ammo. Well, why'd you be carrying that? And I'm like, because criminals can't afford hollow points. I don't know, man. They're buying this shit off the street. They're not walking into Walmart like, I'll take your finest spear gold dot, please. No, they're buying a gun that was stolen with whatever ammo's in it at the time and going their merry way. And they just looked at me like I had a dick grown out of my forehead. I'm like, dude, what? How do you not know that's how body armor works? It's not.
The hollow points are the problem.
Remember the video of body armor first came out, and he's on the end of the Coast Guard ship, and the dude shoots himself?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you should have convinced him at that point to put it on and try it out. See, this guy did it, can you? Ammo.
Here, I've got some. Try.
Hey, on ammo, though, real quick, and I really want
There is none.
No, I want to put this out so crazy, and I'm so disappointed in the industry that I officially found more ammo. Winchester white box, 60 cents a round.
No, it's more than that. Were you looking at on where we got it from last time?
No, not even that. They're out. But
already, we were looking there yesterday, and they had like 500 rounds of 124 white box for almost $400.
Whoa.
But you can't. I mean, you can't give it. That's what's happened. Is the supply has driven the demand so high. And I went through this in 2014 when I still worked at the store, but it was with 40. Even when 40 was the hot caliber 6 years ago, you couldn't get that stuff to save your life. I had people coming in and cussing me one way or another, like, dude, I don't make ammo. I can't control that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's just that, I mean, we all know if anybody that has any business sense, you still have to buy and put a markup on it. And that's the crazy part, is that wasn't even me putting a markup on it. And I'm like, I'm not buying this. Like, because either it's going to keep going up, or if it crashes down, I'm stuck on 60 cents a round on 9mm, and it's crazy, man. I've never would have believed this.
Yeah, because, you know, by mid 20-aughts, you know, 9mm dead, 40, blah, 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 blah. What they didn't take into account is 40 short and weak, while compared to the 10 is short and weak, it's still a high pressure round. And they were marketing this gun to old people. Like, dude, you see all these ads in the early 2000s, you know, the new 40 this, new 40 that. Ruger was especially bad about it when they'd release something 40. It was always like some 60-year-old dude shooting it. And I'm like, that's a terrible idea.
Well,
that is horrible.
In theory, they're older, so they're more experienced, so they have more time to learn recoil management.
My favorite was the 40 cal subcompact micro guns.
Oh,
and
Lord.
When those were like pouring out in the late 2000s, and people are like, I got a 40 cal, holds 4 rounds. It's like, you know, it's that long. And they're like, but it jams. I bet it does.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. And just
on that note, we took over gunsmithing for a range here, and I just touched 2 of these 40 Glocks. We stripped them down, cleaned everything up, sent them back out, and we go up there every 2 weeks, and I come back up, and the gun's in pieces, and I'm like, I ran the serial, we just touched this gun like it's a Glock. You can't do much to it. What's going on here? And they're like, well, the customer can't, and they're plowing people through trying to get on the range because everyone wants their training. And they're like, well, they just said it wasn't shooting right. And I start doing the math.
Wasn't shooting right.
Well, I started doing the math here, and I'm thinking, it's a 40, and these are all new shooters. The gun's jamming because they don't know how to hold it. But I'm like, what did I do to, like, I went to gunsmithing school. How did I jack up a Glock? I'm like, it's dumbfounded, like, this is a new one. And, but it was sad because the desk counter guys, they knew nothing of guns. So they would go pull the actual trigger bar and everything out and snap the trigger spring. And I'm just like, you're costing your company more money. Stop taking them apart.
Right. Oh, those are always my favorites. I'm a Glock armor, and I'm like, that's great. Anyone with a concealed carry permit can take that class. And I honestly, you know what? No bullshit. If you have the $200, go take the class. If you have Glocks and you have a CCW, they are open. Go take it. Learn how your weapon operates. It's a great class.
And hey, I just want to reiterate here, they will in fact tell you Glocks do get oiled.
Yes, they are going to tell you.
Bad
and some of you out there, your heart might skip a beat, but it's true. They do get oiled in specific spots, believe it or not.
Yep.
But you know, and the thing of it is too, Glock in that sense has the right idea, and every other company should follow suit. Why would you not want the people who are purchasing your product to know everything about your product? It's brilliant. On the marketing end, on the business side, it's completely brilliant. Oh, you've got a concealed carry permit? You have a Glock? Yeah, go ahead. You can come take the class with us. Why not?
Yeah.
I tell you what, the funniest ones I've seen, though, Eric, and I'm sure you've seen it. Me and Brandon get it occasionally here in the shop. Is people say that the ammo won't load. It won't load. And they'll be trying to put 40 in a 9.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, I can't even get it in the magazine.
he's already laughing.
Yeah. The best one we had was a guy who had a 9mm who said that he actually, I was picking up some parts to do some work on some guns for a local gun range. And the guy that he brought it in, and the kid behind the counter had nothing about guns. And he said, "Hey, you got a second to look at this?" And I said, "Sure." And I take it away from him and go to clear it, and it's like, oh, this thing's, And I finally got it apart, and he was like, "Yeah." He goes, "It won't do anything." And he had put the round in backwards.
Ooh.
And I was amazed it didn't go off. But he said he'd sat there and hit the back of it trying to get it to close.
So
I said, "Really?"
I didn't see it firsthand, but the same range, because so many people go through it. One of the guys I'm close up there with says, "Dude, I have to show you this video." And I'm like, "What?" It's a Smith & Wesson M&P, and the dude comes back up. The dude comes to the camera first, so nobody goes and looks at the view. He's like, "Hey, the magazine won't load." The guy's like, "Why?" And the guy hands him the gun. He'd literally put the magazine in backwards. They went back to the video later on and smacked it in until it sat flush.
Ooh, God.
So he just bought himself an M&P, huh?
Yeah.
Shove it in harder. Why don't you?
Yeah, no, right? Like
That's what she said.
Not
Hey, boom.
But all seriousness, I'm just sitting there like, there's so many people that own guns now. This
week alone, I've had 4 or 5 people who have ordered Security 9 extensions for their compact because they don't know there's 2 separate guns and that the compact won't take the extension. And then I ask them, "Well, when did you get?" "Oh, this is my first gun. I'm a new gun owner." And I'm like, damn, dude, there are just so many people out there that I just don't know how we educate them all, because it's like, dude,
we don't mind helping them, but it's like when people get upset, you're just like, calm down. We can't help you if you're irritated. It's like, man, if you'll listen, we'll help you. But like you ordered, it says it doesn't fit that, but they didn't know. They know there was 2 versions. Like you said, it's like, oh, well, if you didn't know that, you didn't know that, but now you do.
And I think a big part of that comes from people working at gun stores and big box stores that sell guns that don't know anything about guns.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And are telling these people what they need and this, that, and the other. And that's where we're ending up, for those of us that work in the industry, with this look every day. Going,
I just have a public service announcement to any gun counter boy out there. It's okay to tell the freaking customer, "Hold on a second. Let me go find an answer." That is
it's an okay thing to do. You can stop and say, "I don't know. Let me go find." You'd be surprised how many go look at the website. I answer so many questions. Honestly, I don't know. I've never done that or tried it. I don't know why you would, but I don't know. Because you'd be surprised. People come up, and sometimes you're like, what? And other times you're like, why didn't I think of that? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, hey, try this. And I'm like,
give that a whirl. Yeah.
But it's very rare that it's that part of it. It's usually the what? But, and I think it all comes back to also a lot of the misinformation put out there by people that shouldn't be treated as celebrities, that are supposed to be civil servants, but still purposely seeding misinformation. And then, because, dude, I don't know how many times I've been to Sportsman's Warehouse over the past couple months and heard some idiot say something about, "Well, that's not what they said on the news," trying to buy a gun without doing a background check. I'm like, that's
hey, one of our local gun stores here, Brandon used to work at it. In fact, the guy who runs it now, I asked him, I said, "So have you had any crazy stories?" He said, "Yeah, I had a guy come in and say he wanted to use the gun show loophole to buy a gun."
God.
Yeah, and you see this. We make memes. Well, I do, because I'm a terrible person. I make memes about these people. I laugh at it, but they really exist everywhere. Like, at first, it's like, oh, you think that's only in like L.A., New York, big, cities and whatnot. And then you're like, wait, really? Like, someone literally walked in and asked that?
He said
I realize it's Asheville, but
the guy ended up on the floor kicking and screaming, saying he wasn't leaving until he got a gun. He said, well, you'll leave when the sheriff's department hauls you off. He left.
I just don't get it.
Interesting twist of fate that a lot of folks who probably voted in favor of gun control are now purchasing guns, and I think that, the firearms community is such a warm and welcoming community. Like, if you're like, oh, hey, I want to get into 3-gun, everyone's like, hey, use my stuff. Don't buy it. Don't buy this. Do that. Do this. And then just save your money and then you'll learn what you want. And it's like, I've never been a part of another community that was so warm and welcoming and generous with their knowledge. So what I hope is that all of these new gun owners take advantage of that and kind of set their ego or their pride aside and just say hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Would you help me? Because I think that's one of the most valuable things that can happen at this point for everyone's safety, right?
Oh, exactly.
And also to grow the 2A community, because I think it's very, very important. So a gun is not an Apple computer. You can't just plug it in and hit this button. We've engineered all of everything out of it. So it is just, there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and you don't necessarily have to be a mechanical genius to even understand it. You just have to be willing to learn about it. And actually, like I said, put your ego. So, dude, I know more about guns than I'll probably ever remember in my entire life, but I'm still learning every day. I still take classes. I still take armorer's courses for weapons I've never touched because I want to learn. I want to know. I don't know everything under the sun.
Well, and it's one of the things we learn too in our side of the trade is, when customers call us with a problem that we haven't seen before, so we're learning from I have no idea how you did that.
Yeah,
and it's not, but we learn and we're able to help other people later on. So that works out in our favor to help, the new gun owners, and then those folks that they've shot for 50 years and they've still done something that we've never seen and they don't know how they did it. And it's, we're able to figure it out. It helps, it makes the whole community better as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does.
And that's, in fact, it's a good point. Someone who's been shooting for 30 years. I don't know how many times I've heard that line. When I first started working for Vortex Optics, I was in their consumer care department. So fielding a lot of technical questions. And
I already know where this is going.
And it's I've had so many hour-long conversations, which is rare. I mean, you call some optics companies, and that's why I give a lot of credit to Vortex. A lot of other optics companies don't even answer the phone, but they have a really good staff there handling technical issues.
Trace.
They're like, hey, this is what happened. This is broken. And you're like, well, let's talk about this. Let me ask you some questions. We'll figure it out. And you get to the point where oh no, this is what's going wrong. If you do X, then everything should work fine. And if it doesn't, then at that point we'll need to get it back in. But you've done X, Y, or Z, not to spec. And you get so many, boy, I've been shooting for longer than you've been alive. And it's hey man,
technology changes.
It's guys who are I've been shooting for 30 years. And I'm like, sweet, I'm 34. I've been shooting since I was 3. We're almost tied. So please listen.
Please just listen. I'm not going to lead you astray. Oh, yeah. I'm 74. I've been shooting since 1974. Or say it's always something. And what's really funny, though, is the differences in the different shooting disciplines when they're at that age, too. Because you'll get bench rest shooters, you get the competitive guys, you get bullseye guys, you get all these. But there's always this kind of center. Well, I've been shooting them longer than you've had gray hair or something, and you're just like, right, things have changed since the flintlock, right?
That actually happened this morning in our shop.
It's a daily occurrence.
It really is.
When you're in the industry.
The old man is sweet, right? He's trying to tell us he's bringing in this rifle, and he says it's grouping like that. It's a 243, and I'm like, okay, so you want me to bed the rifle and you want me to recrown it? Yeah. What are you expecting in your head right now? Half-inch MOA? That's rifles from 1960 with the same barrel. Well, it's a Weatherby Vanguard, right? And I'm like, I said, it's going to hopefully shoot at her, but this is not going to shoot what you think.
By any means.
I said, truthfully, we're not going to do the work just because the expectation you have in your head.
Yeah. And we've had to turn away work for similar reasons, because I think some people just get really, I know what they want and I get it, because I picture perfect paintings and drawings in my mind, but my handwriting and art history, terrible. I can tell you exactly how I want something, and if you ask me to sketch it out, we're both screwed, because it's not going to make any sense.
You seen those cave paintings?
So, that I totally get that part of it, because it's just people's expectations and the reality of what capabilities are clash a lot. And it's like, we really can't pull that off.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's better to turn work away.
Yeah. Was he using factory ammo, or was he hand loading?
That's another thing we have to ask him, Junior. Was he hand loading it, or was he using factory?
He said he was both. He told me about some Hornady match, whatever. He's like, I've been reloading my whole life. And I'm like, again, you said you bought this rifle used. You said it's not shooting what you expect out. What you want me to do will overall improve everything. Guarantee what you want, though.
Yeah, because you just can't, especially on an older firearm like that. It's just, there's no way. You just can't do it.
Is it falling again?
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we have hit our hour. We've gone over by 7.5 minutes. So
overachievers.
We are overachievers, as usual. So we'll go through our spiels one last time. If you're joining us at the end of this, joining us tonight was John Skubis from Sierra Whiskey Company. Where can you find the Under-tac boxer briefs that Junior's showing off? Is right here at www.sierrawhiskeyco.com or at nagindustries.com or at Nag Industries storefront if you're local to Bakersfield. John, anything you want to add at the end here?
Well, I just appreciate you guys having me on and allowing me to kind of educate on the product a little bit. It's one of those things where I've gotten in the hands of a lot of special forces guys, and you guys know they will not BS you if they don't like the product or it's not tip top. So I haven't heard any negative feedback, which I was really shocked about, because I want, as a business owner, you want some sort of negative feedback because you're like, I got to get better at something. There's got to be room for improvement here. So I haven't really gotten any, which was surprising. So, if you take a piss in a surveillance van, hey, those are your underwear, or if you're rucking 100 pounds over a mountain, or you're just traveling. So I'm ecstatic that we have such a wonderful product, and the Special Forces community loves it and uses it. I'm just excited to get it out there more. So I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been an awesome time.
Great.
Right. Junior?
Well, it's been amazing. We're on episode 9, and we're officially about to 10. I'm about to die right now.
I'd like to thank the Academy and all the little people.
Like John, and you guys both know, you kind of started with me when I was young and not young. But you guys have been a great resource. I think keep growing. So anybody's products out here, Caliphase, John's, you can find them at our storefront. You can find them on our website. Our new website should be launching October 1st. We took a little bit of a delay on it, But outside of that, we'll be rocking and rolling with all these products on there.
Sweet sassy Lassie.
And just one last thing I'm going to plug here. If y'all jump on the Sierra Whiskey Co. YouTube channel, I'm putting out some fun gun videos. It's like 45-70 revolver versus Desert Eagle, that kind of stuff. But on top of that, I am putting out content where we are, building improvised body armor like next week. This week we did escaping restraints. So there's a lot of how-to information that I think is valuable that, should be shared. Like if your family members don't know how to break out a duct tape, they damn well should.
Oh, yeah.
So, and zip cuffs and all that good stuff. So what you got there? Oh, look at that.
That's Uncle Sam telling you better put that underwear on.
Did you keister that?
He definitely did. He did.
Pulled it out of somewhere.
Wrong banner. Let me get that back up there. So we'll get that banner up one last time for those of you who are listening later. It is www.sierrawhiskeyco.com is where you can find the Under-tac boxer briefs. Go ahead, John.
You don't want to store a razor blade in your prison wallet. So
that's right.
Is that speaking from experience?
That is not, but I think it's a pretty good sales pitch.
I mean, really, it honestly is. Do you want to hide your razor blade in your prison wallet, or would you rather have this lovely pair of underwear with this pouch ready for you? I think I'll take the underwear.
If we send anything for you to try ideas,
unplug one of your head. Unplug that mic. There you go.
better.
Yes, you were double feeding. Oh,
So she
okay.
said.
There you go.
So, if we send anything for you to try, just let us know. We'll send it over the videos.
Awesome.
Blow some stuff up. All right. And joining us tonight, our new guy, Sandman over here. Any final parting words here? Any final words, Squid?
Not too much. It was fun. I haven't actually had a chance to watch too many of the other podcasts. I watched last week's when you guys did it. So just kind of feeling the flow of things.
You have a podcast of your own, don't you?
That is correct. Polititalk Centered. We have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel. You can find us there.
That's if you want your political talks, go check his stuff out.
And we're kind of dueling it up. So the main podcast revolves around hearing all different sides. We're not there to prove anybody right or wrong, although it's kind of obvious sometimes which one is which. But yeah, the main podcast is about just having a discussion, learning from each other, and helping everybody understand each other more. That's kind of the goal of it. The other side is Sam's Corner, where it's just kind of more raw and playful, and I just kind of go on whatever.
Prison wallet, raw.
Wallets, key string. Has all of these been? Wait a minute. Has this been in yours? Yes, I have keystered all of these. All right, guys. And finally, as I sign us off again to the community, we thank you guys for watching, for listening, for downloading, buying product. Go check out SierraWhiskeyCo.com. They don't just have cool underwear. They got some cool T-shirts and hats, too, to go with it. Definitely get you a pair of the Undertac. Everyone, thanks for coming on tonight. Thanks for joining us. And as always, be safe, be accurate, and God bless.